Hey guys, welcome back. So it's been over a week since I recorded the last video, and now I'm super excited to get back to means. I'm sort of busy with other things, but we are back, and what is nice is that we will finally get to actually work on the crane system. So let's take a screenshot of this, and we will paste that screenshot into Paint, because we are being sophisticated and we use only sophisticated drawing tools. Right, so if you have this, let's use like an orange here or something like that. All right, we have like a fixture here, right? The idea is that we will have some sort of crane thingy here. I'm drawing with the mouse, so this will look super horrible. You have sort of a crane here, and the crane probably has a couple of arms or something that will form the overall arm of the crane. Maybe let's add one more just for good measure. And this will be sort of jointed at these places. And from the crane there will be a cable. And at the end of the cable there will be this sort of magnet thing. And the idea is that you're supposed to be able to lift these smaller vehicles. So this guy, for example, you can just lift him around and move him to other places, as well as other cargo. That is sort of like the core of the gameplay, it means. And today we will finally start on our journey to having a very nice and physics-driven crane. But that road is quite long, and there are many stops on the way. But before we start working on the crane itself, I was thinking that you have the mother vehicle here, and or actually, first of all, let's say we have this vehicle, the scout vehicle. So you're supposed to be able to switch between vehicles, just like in Slide, by just driving up to them. I don't actually have the switching logic here, but basically you're supposed to be able to drive up to this here and go like, all right, I want to switch to you, and it gives you some option to do that. I can do it via the debug menu here. And so if you're controlling the mother vehicle, then you can obviously drive around it like we've done previously. But you're also supposed to be able to control other things, like the crane. So what I was thinking is that when you are in control of the mother vehicle, if you hold down a key on your keyboard or a button on your controller, let's again take a screenshot. It would give you some kind of menu here. Actually, where's my thing? It'll give you sort of a menu here with some options on what you can choose. So maybe this would be like driver. Man, that's small. Driver. And this would be, cargo crane. Then maybe we have the I call it the attractor crane, which is the other crane that I also figure we will add to the mother vehicle at some point. And maybe you have some other system, like I don't know, the cargo bay or whatever. I don't exactly know what kind of subsystems we will have, but I think we will have at least these three top ones. And so to be able to actually switch between these guys, we need some sort of menu selection system thingy. And like one of these things would be sort of highlighted. So maybe this is now highlighted because you're the driver and you can drive around. and you can switch to any of these unless they are like broken or something. And then when you switch to, for example, this cargo crane here and let go of the button, this menu would disappear, and you would be able to control the crane instead. So this guy right here. So you wouldn't be able to like move the crane and drive the vehicle at the same time. Maybe that's something that you could perhaps do in like multiplayer or something, co-op, if we ever add that. But for now, one player will control one vehicle at a time. And so how do we do that? Well, I was thinking that these things that we came up with, this list of different places on the vehicle that you can control, essentially. I was thinking we would call them roles. And if we go have a look at the blueprint again. So we got the vehicle blueprints, and we go to mother. We have our huge transform component as usual, but we have this means vehicle avatar component, this guy. So in basis terminology, the avatar is a game object that the player controls. So like we saw here, if I just quickly start this again. When we start here, we're actually, well, we're sitting below the ground, but that's besides the point. You're not really controlling anything. You're not any one of these guys. We can, through the debug menu, we can set this guy to be the avatar. And now we can drive this vehicle around. And then this guy can be destroyed, for example, bloop. And now we're not anyone anymore. And yeah, this is interesting. This is actually, I think this is sort of like a bug in physics, to be honest, because sometimes when you destroy things close to other physics objects or vehicles specifically, those vehicles just sort of, until you wake them again, their parts just go kind of crazy. So that's maybe something that we'll have to look at. But yes, yeah, the point is that you can, like, your avatar can be any game object, essentially. Any game object that is set to be like an avatar. You can't make this primitive object here be an avatar, but we could make that happen if we wanted to. And yeah, so this means vehicle avatar component is the component that sort of controls how the vehicle is your avatar and what you can do when that vehicle is your avatar, etc., etc. So here we can actually add to this guy a list of roles that you can have. And I think, like, implicitly the component would have the driver role, right? That kind of makes sense. Like, the driver is the role that you assume when you enter a vehicle conceptually. Now let's have a look at what this guy has actually eaten. Can we make this sort of larger? I guess we can just do that, and then we can do that. But is there actually like a handy, like, Zen mode? Well, Zen mode does that. Maybe that will be enough for now. Oh, you can make the Zen mode larger as well. Well, that's nice. Maybe Zen mode is exactly what I want then. So let's have a look. That's the vehicle controller. We looked at these already previously. Actually, we've looked at these in the timbre, the engine sound video. Yeah, the description as well, I think. We have the means vehicle component. Is that actually used for anything? Yes, it is. Right, we get the description out of that, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is an important thing. The context of this object is an avatar tracking component, and avatar tracking components have like, as opposed to just normal game object components. Avatar tracking components give you all kinds of extra functionality that you can only access if you are the avatar of some player, or if an object is the avatar of some player, then that object can access like the player's input, for example. Yeah, we have some propagated values here. So propagated input data. It would seem this component subscribes to a few messages, player control and game logic. What is this? Description was updated. Oh, okay. Yeah, we subscribe to it over here. All right. Yeah, and then we just sort of hook everything up here in object created. So we have create. This thing is called when this object is has been created. Destroy is called when this object is destroyed, and on object created is called when all components of the game object have been created. So you can do things like this, where you can go, okay, game object, give me my sibling of type vehicle controller component, for example. Yeah, you should never do this kind of thing here in create, because it's not guaranteed that the vehicle controller component has been created. But in on object created, it's only called after all components have been created. Right. Blah blah blah. We get some, yeah, we got an auto gearbox thingies. Yeah, and we have the cruise control. CC is short for cruise control. So we have a CC vehicle speed controller. Is that actually? Yeah, that is actually just straight up owned by this guy. So this is gonna be interesting. This is like, it uses a PID controller to set a value, so that you can just go, I want to be cruising at I don't know, 50 kilometers per hour, for example. Yeah, here, okay, so tick is called every fixed update. Actually, let's look at this one at a time. You have update, which is called every update, every variable update. You have pre-tick, which is called before the physics are stepped. So this is a very good place to call, to like adjust the input of the vehicle controller. And then tick is called after. So there's update, pre-tick, and tick. And tick here sends the engine message. Basis engine messages. Message local avatar transform updated. And this message is nothing magic really, but this is typically what I use when you want to notify the engine if there happens to be any engine systems that needs to know where the avatar is of the player. But basically here we just notify the camera that, hey, we are now at this position, and we have these like linear velocities and angular velocities, etc. And the camera can then react to that and move along with the vehicle. And then we have some things that are automatically called for these avatar tracking components, like, well, provided that you actually have them here in the struct. So on became client local avatar, on lost client local avatar, and there are others as well. But yes, what do we have here? Right, tick movement input. Yeah, so if we are an avatar, and keep in mind that Basis is client-server based, so on the network, regardless if you're actually playing multiplayer or single-player games, on the network there is a server, and there can be any number of clients. And if you're playing single-player, there's only one client, but there's still a server. But this basically checks that if on the network, if this object is an avatar of someone. So if you're on the client, it means that you are the avatar object for the local player. If you're on the server, it means that this is an avatar of some player, which again in the single player just means that the one and only player. But if you are an avatar, then you can actually read inputs. And here we're reading some ranges. Ranges are F32s, so float values, and we just pipe them to the vehicle controller essentially. As you can see, it's kind of complex. Like first we're checking if we're using cruise control, and applying acceleration braking disables cruise control, but we're actually feeding it into the cruise control speed controller if it is enabled. We propagate the input on the server, so if we're not on the client, then we propagate the input to all clients, but only the non-avatar clients use this propagated data. That is so that if you're playing multiplayer games, then your fellow players' vehicles actually properly move around on your screen without you really having to do anything else. You just need to propagate it to the server. The server propagates it to all clients, but only the non-avatar clients use this, because all the avatar clients actually, well, they just use whatever the player is inputting locally for minimum lag with a little bit of correction over time. Then we update the auto gearbox, and then finally we set the input data on the vehicle controller. Right. So let's get out of Zen mode. And maybe we can actually just select this guy, for example. I think there's a what's it called? Means debug vehicle. Yeah. Set that to true. We get some debug information here for ourselves. So here you can see the auto gearbox switch curves, which we haven't actually adjusted for the mother vehicle at all. We definitely should, but you can see that as I am actually letting go of the throttle, the crosshair sort of moves down, and when I'm slowly pushing it upwards, it goes up towards the top. And you can see the curves there. But actually the thing I was most interested in showing you is that the current speed can be set here, and we can set, so now I have the cruise control enabled. Our target speed is 30 kilometers per hour. You can see we're at 29.67 something. We can adjust that, make it 10 higher. Right. Yes, that way. Now it's at 40. It tries to stay at 40 without me having to actually use the accelerator at all. It is quite good actually. This I can try to stay at 100. So now we're at 100, and we can try to stay at this speed, which it won't be able to do in tight curves, but it's kind of to be expected. And I haven't used the accelerator in a while because the cruise control is doing that for me. This is really handy with AI vehicles as well. in Slide, basically all the AI vehicles, they just use cruise control whenever they want to move around. They kind of go, oh, okay, I want to be traveling at like 50 kilometers per hour or whatever, and then they engage the cruise control. And that kind of handles it for them. So that's kind of nice. Let's set the target to like 30. And it will reach 30 sooner or later. Anyway, this got kind of off on a tangent, but I think this is pretty cool actually. Why is my controller acting up? That's interesting. Anyway, that is the vehicle avatar component. And I think this is probably where we'll want to put in the roles as well. Okay, so let's go into here. And what we want to add is let's have a think. Let's have a thunk. So you can have an array of things in here. And here, for example, we have an array of shapes. This is one. This is another one. And you can have enums. So that's nice. Do we have actually an UI definition for the vehicle avatar component? It looks like we do. So we can start from this for once. We'll start with the data, then we'll write the code to handle the data. So going to means data, work folder root, metadata. We haven't really spent any time in here yet. So this is a pretty interesting system, which is actually fairly recent. Only had this for about 6 months or so, because I've only had this editor for the components for 6 months or so. So what you can do here is, if you go into the slide, onto the slide side of things, here we have actually a lot more, but we have something called types. So we can just create a folder called types here. And we go have a look here, and vehicle depth material swap. Actually, I think we'll want to go into bases and types, and we can look at like dynamic shape description, for example. Let's open that up. And this is a TOML file. So this guy defines a dynamic shape description, and this here is, for example, a dynamic shape description. So we just make this, put that to the side and put that there. That was not maybe such a good idea. Let's have it like this instead. So what you can see here is that, okay, we have a type, it's this one, then we have blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is a convex hull, so it has points. You can see here, convex hull. It's visible only if type is convex hull. If we don't have it, if we have, let's say, a cylinder X, then we have radius, which is here. So if type is in one of these guys, then this is visible. Same with height. If type is one of these types here, then we have height instead. So you can you can lay out these things and even put in some small logic in here. And what we'll want to do is we'll want to create a new type, and we'll call it something like avatar role, I think. So let's do that. Let's do just that. we'll call this avatar. Actually, let's call it vehicle avatar role. And the first thing we'll want is type, and it is of type enum. And the first role is driver. The second type is cargo crane. And I think maybe that's it for now. Maybe we want to put in like the attractor crane here somewhere. Maybe we'll want that. The default is driver. Display name is type. And yeah, the type of role. Explicit default value. This has to do with whether or not if you don't go and change this, it actually writes the driver value there into the JSON when we actually save this. If this is set to false, it leaves out the default values, but we actually want it in there. So let's save this to types, and we'll call this vehicle avatar role dot UI custom type, right? There we go. And we'll want some other things as well. We'll want the vector 3, for example. And we'll want this to be at 0, 0, 0. Whoa. Max length, that's weird. Yeah, it's not, okay, it's not an array, so we can remove those guys. And what do we call this? We call this something like fixture point or something. So what I'm trying to like get at here is that some of these roles have a position here in local space here in this vehicle, and the cargo crane role's position would be that place. That is essentially like where we are focusing. It might not be where the camera is looking. That's typically another thing, but it might be where the camera is sort of rotating around or something like that. So what do we want to call this? We call this we call it like focus point or something like that. Not focus point. We'll call it role position, because I can't exactly figure out now what I want it to be called. Typically, we want the JSON name to be here all the time, so we'll just call that set that to type with a smaller t, and we'll call this role position. Visible is always true, yes. And let's call this the position in local space where the role is, or something like that. I don't think these descriptions are actually shown anywhere in the editor yet. I haven't figured out where I want to put them. But okay, something like this. We can add more things here later if we want to. But right, so that's now called vehicle avatar role, and I think now if we go into the vehicle avatar component, should just be able to do something like this. I can't remember the syntax of these things, so I'm gonna have to look them up. Is it debug object maybe? Yeah, okay, so here we go. We can move that to the other view. So we'll call this roles, and type is, I think it's supposed to be this guy. And array is true. And how many do we support at a maximum? I don't know. Actually, the slide had a very handy documentation file here, which we should look at if we can find it. Is it here? Maybe. Yes. Yeah. So this is kind of the reference for the whole syntax. Right. So we can have max length. How many roles do we support at a maximum? I don't know. Let's make it 8. I don't think anything will have 8 ever, but it doesn't matter. Let's have JSON name. Some roles. And can we actually have some default value here if we have an array? I don't think we can. I don't think we can. Or can we? Yeah, it looks like we can have a default value if we have some like more simple type, but yeah, I don't know. Dynamic shape description. What if we have like where is it? Dynamic body transform. So this guy now has a list of those shapes, right? So array true, max type 16. Yeah. Yeah, let's just keep it like this. And we'll set that to roles. And this is like the roles supported by this vehicle type. Something like that. Yeah. I think this should be good. I can imagine this is a little confusing to you people if you haven't seen this before, but it should make sense when we reload these guys, and then we reload this. And now when we go to this thing, yeah, here we go. So now we have a list of roles here. You can see that we have driver, cargo crane, and tractor crane, and role position is 0. So this is what I was kind of hoping for. Yeah, so it seems like it always puts 1. I can't even remember. Even though I wrote this system, I can't remember how it works anymore. But it looks like it puts for these arrays of complex things, it adds 1 to the list. I mean, we can remove it like this, and now it's an empty array. But let's put 1 back, and it uses the default values here. So that's exactly what we want. Now, if we go have a look at this, and we can diff it. Oh, it probably doesn't write it because we need the explicit value here as well. Yes. Explicit value there as well. Right, so reload that. And we need to open it up again, I guess. And now we can save it. And now if we go to blueprints, yeah, now we have some changes here. We're going to diff this. So next section, and now we can see, okay, so vehicle avatar didn't used to have any properties. Now it has roles. The type is driver. The role position is 0. Cool. And all the vehicles have gotten that. So that's great. But now, of course, now we want the mother to have several of them. And we go down here and we add another one, and the other one is cargo crane. And just to have something here, we can add a role, and beautiful paint thingy. So it should be probably like on either side of the vehicle here in the back. So what should we put there? How long is the vehicle? Roughly. I don't actually know. I don't remember. I'm just gonna put something in here, and we can figure it out later. Let's put like 4, and that x. That's 4 meters to the right. That's maybe even a little more much. Let's make it 3 meters to the right, and 2 meters up, and minus 10 meters or something. That's gonna be like on the back of the vehicle. So this avatar now has 2 roles that it supports, and we can add more if we want to. Like, obviously these guys shouldn't have the driver role in multiple places, but it doesn't really matter. Like the menu that show up can even just show the same roles if you really want to. You should have an attractor crane there, but let's not add it yet. Let's have it like this. I think that should be good. Now if we go have a look at the JSON that it generated for us when we saved, now we have 2 properties here. So we got sort of a primer in Blueprint properties as well. Okay. That's kind of cool. And now the next step then would be to have these things show up. Like if you have a vehicle and the vehicle has multiple roles like this, more than 1 role, and you hold down some button, then it should give you this menu that we had over here with the different roles. You can switch between one of them, and when you do that, the camera should probably like move from essentially like the driver position is here because it's like in the center, it's 0, 0, 0. But you can have other roles like at different parts of the vehicle, and the crane role should mean that when you switch to it, it should sort of orbit around this part of the vehicle so that you can move the crane around and lift things around. Cool. Okay, so how do we actually then, how do we read these properties from the JSON data? Well, we have a few already here that actually are doing that, and it is very actually it has been used for a very long time on the C++ side. The fact that we can now do it from Zig is that's a fairly recent development. But we have some objects here that have properties. Typically these things that are called like just basis and then colon. It might be a little difficult to see, but that says basis colon. That is a C++ component, because the colon is like the C++ namespace separator. So this thing obviously has a bunch of properties, as well as this huge basis colon dynamic body transform component also has like a huge list of properties. These are read from C++. But yes, we have a couple of here that are Zig components. We have means vehicle component. Well, that guy is means a vehicle component. And the way you load these guys is that you have this means vehicle component properties class. Or it's not a class, it's a struct. I should stop saying class, because Zig doesn't have classes, but it's a struct, and it's right here in the same file as this, as the main struct. And this guy has a load JSON method, and it basically loads things into these 2 members here. And the way we set it up is that we basically create something. We create a member here called Blueprint properties, and the system hooks it up for us automatically through the magic of zig reflection. So let's do that. Let's add one of these blueprint properties types for the vehicle avatar component. Can I zen myself with two different files? Does that work? Like if I have that there, can I zen myself? I can zen myself, yeah. I'm not super experienced at Visual Studio Code, but it is not bad. It is kind of rapidly becoming perhaps not my favorite thing in the world, but it's getting there. So let's do pubconst, and we'll call this vehicle avatar component properties, and it's a struct. And I think we could do like the whole self thing. You'll see me create like a reference to self like this in almost every type we're creating. And then we can actually copy most of this stuff. Because, oh, we don't have the allocator, really? That's unusual. Usually you need an allocator. But all right, haven't allocated anything in this thing previously. Right. So what do we have currently? Well, we have the enum, which we still don't have on the zig side. So we need to figure that out. And then we have the position. We need to read both of those. Now the way that I have sort of loaded these things from Zig, I'm not exactly 100% sure how I want to do this. At some point I loaded them completely dynamically. Now it seems like with some recent Zig changes, the easiest way to actually load these things is by using some small type here. I call it props, that has the exact same types as in the JSON data, and then you just sort of call parse from slice. You give it the type, and it tries to like match all the things to these members. Let's zen out of here. Actually, is there a Control KZ? Okay, Control KZ. Okay. Right. So if we go to the JSON data again. We have a look here. So we have a string and we have a vector tree. Those are the things that we have. Or actually, we have a string and we have an array, right? That's an array. Now maybe we can at some point figure out how to actually directly deserialize this array into a vector tree in Zig, but I don't have that functionality yet. I'm just gonna drag that off to the side. Yeah, maybe we can do that at some point, but I think for now we need to let's zen ourselves again, and we can just write this. And now we need to use the same names as in the JSON. So it was called type, and type is a string. At U8, and then we have role position, and this is a three-dimensional vector of F32s. Right, so that is what the JSON deserialization is looking to find in the JSON data. All right. Okay. And this one we can actually already use, sort of. Right. We need the role enum now. We need to put the role enum somewhere. Where do we put that? Let's just put it here for now. So a vehicle avatar role, right? And this is in enum. How did this work? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember. Right, so it's enum and then I32, for example, if you want on like a normal int, which we maybe we do. I don't think it really matters. So we can write enum I32. Oh. And then we have driver, and we have we can even, I guess, give it a value if we want to. We have driver, and we have what was it? Was it cargo something or other? Here is our role. We have cargo crane, which would be 1, and cargo tractor crane, which would be 2. Let's keep explicitly give values to all of those. Right, so we have that, and now then we can add this here. So now it doesn't need to necessarily be use the exact same name as in the JSON, but now I'm thinking like this is not exactly what we want, because this is a role, right? This is a role, and we have a const props, which is also a struct, and this guy has a list of these guys, right? So this has a list of roles. That's actually how it's supposed to look like, and I think you shouldn't have a space there. Yeah, something like that. And actually, this should be vehicle avatar role type, because now we can put in avatar role. Actually, let's not do that there. Let's do it here instead, and I'll keep writing public when it should be pub role. Yeah, I must have undone that. But yeah, it should be role type, which is an enum, and then role, which is a struct, and this guy now has type, which is vehicle avatar role type. We need to give it some value, right? Don't we need to do that? I think we need to do that. It needs to be driver. Oh no, it actually doesn't need to be. We just need to give it later on then instead. Right, type, and what do we call it? Role position. And this can be a basis math vector 3 now, because that is essentially what we want to work with, right? Right, so this thing, and now this guy should have a list of those, right? But I wonder, should we have like let's make a pub const role list is std bounded array of these roles, and the size, maximum size, is 8, right? That's what we sort of decided was a good max number. So now this guy can just have a role list. Am I right? I think I am. think I am right. All right, it needs to, yeah, it can't have like, just to have all its members in one go without any like weird things in between, like declarations or anything. Right, something like that. Now that we have this, we need to initialize this somehow, right? Init, and we'll just put it to 0, like that. So bounded array is sort of like an STD array, right? In which you give it a type and you give it a buffer capacity, and it sort of creates a buffer with that many, or places for that many objects on the stack. It doesn't allocate anything. Useful to pass around small arrays whose exact size is known at runtime. Exact size only known at runtime. Whose maximum size is known at compile time without requiring an allocator. Yes, that is exactly it. That is exactly it. Oh, we need to try, do we? Why do we need to try? I don't know, but we need to try anyway. I don't think we can try if we just return a self here, right? This won't work. This won't work. Let's try building this. It should tell us that no. No, that's not okay. Actually, maybe it won't, because we're not using that yet. We need to use it. So we'll just take this guy. No, not that guy. We need to take this guy. And where are we? We're over there, and we'll go to context, and we'll put in the vehicle avatar component properties. Now if we try to build, it will go, yay. That's not good. You can't do a try that way, but maybe we can actually do it this way. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so I can't actually try things in here. Yeah, this is not really like Zig's fault. This is more like my fault, because it just tries to init this thing. You know, it just calls catch unreachable here, which is not really considered super clean. Okay. Well, I mean, in this case, it really doesn't matter. Is there yeah, there's no like there's an append assume capacity, I think it's called. Here if we do self.roles append, we can do append assume capacity, but we can't initialize it to 0. That's kind of weird. Like, why do we need to? Returns error overflow if it exceeds the length of the backing area. It's like, yeah, okay, I get that, but so everything here is actually initialized, which means that we don't necessarily need to actually do this, right? We can just take it away. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't seem to work, but this should work. And now we get. Oh, we can't have a try there if we catch unreachable. Now we get another error. What? Let's have a look at this again. Yeah, so that should not be there now. Yeah, why is this actually? That's kind of annoying. Like I think you should always kind of, you should always be able to just have like bounded array aligned. No, bounded array. All right, align off. Okay. Yeah, you should always just be able to initialize something with like a 0 length. That should be fine. But it doesn't seem to like that. I mean, we have this. Asserting the capacity is already enough to store the new item. It's like, yeah, this is what we want. You can even add things in here. And you can just assert that, like, yeah, it fails if it doesn't fit. But you can't initialize it to 0 without having to do try or catch unreachable. Yeah, that's sort of gnarly. I mean, the nice thing here would probably be to, like, we can just copy this and comment it out so we have it for later. If we could do this, you could do, like, you know, catch any errors and then just do try. And that would be sort of nice. But this doesn't compile currently because of the thing we just looked at, which is like this guy here. It's just calling init. But maybe if we did something like this then, right? So, because load JSON, if we go back to this one more time, load JSON has this error catching mechanism enabled for this guy. And you can call try here. And it sort of bubbles up. And I seem to have a to-do here to forward the error message to the C++ side, but currently we just write blueprint property load JSON error and then the error itself. Right. So I wonder, can we do something like this then? And just catch the error here as well. And it returns 0 to creation error. Something like this, right? And yeah, now we have a couple of guys here that don't actually adhere to this specification, which means that if we go down to here, we need to just add an exclamation point there, and also to the debug object there. So now we can do this. Now we can just call try roll list init 0, which is kind of silly because it's like, yeah, of course it will succeed. Roll list has a capacity of 8. We're initting it to 0. That will never fail. No point in doing anything else. But yeah, okay. We're gonna get rid of that. We don't need that deinit function there, and that's that. Okay. So now, now we should be able to do for props dot no props dot something props dot roles roll or something like this, right? No, am I just complete? Oh, it's unused. That's why it doesn't like it. For props dot roll. And we want to create a new role with this thing. So if we save this, it should just make sure I get the syntax correct. Okay, props is here, roles is there. Oh, what is the problem? Props is props. This props is there. It has a roles member. That's kind of interesting. No field name roles. Oh, is this like a value thingy? Yeah, okay, that was it. Yeah, because the thing that you get out of this is it is a parse error. No, it's not. That's the error. You get out a parsed t, and this parsed guy has a value which is the actual t, right? Okay. Okay, that's cool. A good. Right. So now then, role. So we should be able to create a new role of this type here. So vehicle avatar role. We'll call that like role data or something like that, right? And we'll do var role is something like this, and we have role position and we have type. So type first of all, or actually we can do var type vehicle avatar role type is just vehicle avatar role type dot driver role type. It's unused, yeah, doesn't matter. And then var role position is a basis math vec 3, which is 0. And then we create a var role. Actually, we do this. And type is role, role type, and role position is role position, and that should be a comma, and here should be a semicolon, and now we can do self dot roles append assume capacity role, right? And yeah, we're not using that yet. We need to do it. We can actually just take that and put it there instead. And now in here, so role position should be kind of easy. I think that should be, is it basis? That's JSON helper dot get the vec3 member. Yeah, that's not really what we want. How does this work? Oh, init from JSON array is what we actually want. Yeah. So this is this is math vec3 init from JSON array, and the JSON array is role data dot role position. So that's that. And then here we have this std metadata thing, which tries to figure out the actual type. So we have this type here, and we have role data dot, the string is role data dot type, and role type is like the actual enum value, like so. Is this now the best way to actually write this? Might not be. Maybe we can do it a bit more elegantly. So role is basically this. And that would be that. And that would be that. We can get rid of those. We can do role dot. And we can do role dot. Role position, okay. And then we can just append role, like so. Maybe that is what we want. And this can just be called position, I think. Something like that. I think that should work. I just type, maybe. Like type is like a keyword in Zig, so I wonder. Yeah, maybe. Array list aligned. Oh. Oh. Oh, init from slice then, right? Yeah, slice is what we want. Array literal requires address of operator, right? So that would be just that then. Oh, well, that should be a const. Right? That should be a const right there. Yeah. Okay, so all init from slices should take const slices, actually. That's a good fix to do. We have a few of them. Yeah, so this is kind of... I'm making lots of small errors here, but I haven't really written any Zig in a while because I've been doing other things like the web GPU stuff, which is has been all C++ or C, and then completely different projects that have been nowhere near Zig. So I'm sort of relearning Zig here at the same time as doing this. I'm kind of enjoying this. I'm hoping it's not super boring content for you guys. Okay. Okay, now we should actually have it loading properly for all of our things, and maybe we can actually try this out with our new debugging functionality. It's not really new, it's just that I haven't really enabled it previously. Error loading BP props into Zig object vehicle avatar. Test vehicle. Okay. What does the test vehicle look like then? Maybe we should. Actually, we can do something like this. Like maybe it's actually just failing there inside the loading of that. Yeah, it looks like it does. Okay, so what do we have? Error is 0. What? Don't really get any output, do we? debug console. Unknown field. Okay. Did we just bork these names somehow? So type and position. Role position. Actually, it's these guys. So we have roles, and we have type, and we have role position. What? No. No, that's not right. That's not right. So it's called position. Role position. Yeah. Ah, we need to. Yeah, we need to. I forgot to rebuild. Yeah, so one thing VS Code doesn't do, which normal Visual Studio does, is that if you have edited this thing, then it kind of figures it out and rebuilds the thing for you. Which of course this doesn't really know how to do. It's completely understandable. Do we get any interesting non-zero positions here? No, but we do get an access violation, so that's not good. Let's try this again. There are just so many things here that why can't I read the memory? That's also kind of strange. It's also kind of strange, but so we're launching debug, okay. Yeah, let me just figure this out. I'll get back to you in a sec. Okay, so we seem to be getting the correct values. Just the debugger doesn't really like to show us everything. We seem to be getting the correct values. Seems like we're somehow thrashing memory though, so let's comment that out. Let's see, can we now get into the game? Nope, we cannot. Okay. Let's comment out more then, and do some more. Right, we're still getting this weird access violation here. Let's have a look. Where are we actually? So we're creating this vehicle. That's fine. Set vehicle user data. It's interesting because we're not anywhere near that. It would seem. No, it's just okay. It's just showing us the wrong thing. Like create vehicle, but we're inside update torque vectoring here. Yeah, some of these things are probably because of this debugger, which I haven't used before today, really. So that's not good. Create vehicle controller, yes. Create physics backend. Yeah. Okay, but now we're in pre-update. Yeah, this is not. It's really not. It doesn't actually match what we have currently. So what I'm gonna do here is open up basis. I'm gonna rebuild the C++ parts just to make sure that we don't have anything funky on that end. Yeah, and that's gonna take a while, so I'm gonna pause the video here. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, so yeah, it really seemed like I just had some bad code on the C++ side. I hadn't rebuilt because we're using debug now. previously when we were running the game, we were using release. Now that I've rebuilt the C++ side for the debug build, we can get into the game just fine. Excellent. Okay. So, let's see. If I here in the vehicle avatar component, we added this blueprint properties earlier here. So just to test this out, we can do blueprint properties, BPP, and we need to, oh, that's self blueprint properties, right? And yeah, it's an optional signified by this question mark. So we need to wrap it in an if to actually be able to use it. And BPP is then the actual value that we get out of it, and we can do something like basis printf, and the role would be how did we do this? What is it? Something like this. Now this actually basically printf is just, is it like a, what is this? How do I use this? Who am I? And why am I? And why can't I actually go there? Okay, well that failed. Let's search for that instead. One result in one file. That's confusing. This is, however, it does look like an actual proper zig thing. So let's assume it uses zig. Let's assume it uses zig formatters, right? And we have the list of roles, obviously. Yeah. So okay, you can do something like this, like roles, and then we don't have anything here, and we want to put in a new line there. Yeah, it's a little annoying sometimes when it puts those in. So for BPP, BPP roles, role, and we can do basis print f or print and type, and then like as a string. I think that's how we print strings, and we have role dot, is it type? Again, this doesn't want to give me any intelligence. It makes me a little sad, probably because I have something wrong here. Root file basis has no member named print, and that's probably why. Is it perhaps basis debug? No. It does give me like a printf thingy here, though. What is it called? What is it called? Let's go to basis.zig here. It's called printf, and it's just forwarding it to std debug print. Okay. Why does it then give me print? That's just super confusing. That is just super confusing. So let's try with printf then. Hey, now we get that. Not that we really need the basis shorthand there, but is it buffer? I think that's buffer maybe. Invalid string. Okay, so it doesn't want to give it as a string, but I want to print it, so I figured it would want that as a string. But okay, let's do this. Actually, maybe we can, just to make it even clearer, right? We can do const game object is self context game object. And from GameObject we get the name, right? Get name. So we can do like S roles, and then here we do get name. Right? That should work. That should work. Right, so now we can just run through this a little bit, and oh no, what happened? What did happen? We did something bad, did we not? So base truck, roles, driver. Okay, and we tried to print something that, okay, so this is probably me not knowing exactly how to use this. Right. Okay, I remember now. There was some interesting way you were supposed to kind of iterate over this thing. Wasn't there? It was like, is there like a slice? Yeah, slice is the thing I actually want. View the internal area as a constant slice whose size was previously set. I think that is what we actually want. So I want like slice set of any type. Would? No? I think it's just that, isn't it? Is it not? Because the buffer is like the whole buffer, which is has always 8 elements, but we don't want that actually. We just want the correctly sized array. Just put something like that there. Base truck. All right, it's called base truck because it's placed in a level. All right, that's fine. How can I print to the basis console though? Can I actually do that? Can I just print to the basis console? I would like to print to the basis console. Thank you very much. This is again one thing where Visual Studio Code is sort of making life a little difficult for me, because I have my own console, and if we go to Launch.js, I think there's like let's go to this one. Console is right. New external window, internal console, external terminal. Internal console is the default value. Integrated terminal. External terminal. Yeah. Maybe we'll just have to deal with it for now at least. I think so. Oh, I need to rebuild still. Always forget that. But yeah, this should now probably write out the things. And it's a little slow to start up, and that's because we're using the debug build. Now we should be in the game, and we are. And now in the debug console, we should have our yes. So we get it twice. We get it once for the server and once for the client. So we can do something like self context on client, and we have blueprint properties. What? So I probably need to like do this in a separate if, because one if is where we're checking at a Boolean value, and the other if is somewhere where we are like checking the value of an optional pointer. I don't think you can necessarily mix those in Zig. I think that should be better. Right, so now if we run it, we just get them once, because we only print them on the client now. And these things exist both on the client and the server. All right, so here we go. So we have base truck 2. It has just the driver role. We have test vehicle 1, also has the driver role, and then we have mother, which has the driver and the cargo crane role. And here we can see all of these guys. This one is base truck 2, that one is test vehicle 1, and that one is mother. So looks like it is finally reading them properly. So now we can start using them here in this avatar, vehicle avatar component. Okay, that was a lot of figuring things out. I hope that wasn't too annoying to watch. It was a little annoying to write because I just made lots of mistakes myself, but as I get more into this whole Zig thing again, I expect things to be a lot smoother and nicer. So I think let's just end this part here. It's gotten pretty long already, but yeah, next time we should probably already get to creating this menu here. Might have to expose some new things from Goofy, from my UI library to Zig. That should be a whole lot of work and a whole lot of fun. And I want to sort of get this sort of role figuring out done first. Building the actual crane should be a lot of fun, but I think I want to do this first, because this can then be used for all kinds of things. And should also make it easier to just test the crane when we can actually select these roles easily and in a somewhat controlled manner. Anyway, I hope to see you again next time. If you have any questions or suggestions or answers or anything, leave them in the comments below. And I'll see you next time.